He's like, I'm gonna try it. I was like, yeah, oh, wow, yeah, he was you characters, he was like, so good. Good morning.
How's everyone? Decent? I'll take decent. That's not bad for a Wednesday, right? Decent's not bad. I feel my voice is kind of like a little sad today. I spent a lot of time screaming at my children playing soccer last night. Like out of all the 8-year-olds, it's funny. I started on coaching like a 10 and under team and a 12 and under team. And the first 10 and under practice, they were so cute and fun. And I was like, this is amazing. I love the 10s and like the little ones. And now I'm like, oh my God, I will take the 12 and under any day over the little ones. Like they don't listen to me at all. I'm like, boy, I need to get a whistle so I can blow my whistle at them every time they make me mad instead of like, go over here. I've been doing so much yelling. So if I sound like a chain smoker today, that's why, right? But anyway, I'm gonna go back here for one slide, right? We left off here. We talked a lot about phobias and flooding and systematic desensitization and all of that kind of stuff. And we'll move on today to talk about a few other ones. We have panic attacks and panic disorder, OCD, and a couple of others to get to. I want to remind you really quickly, and I talked about this a little bit on Monday, your movie selection. Several of you have already turned it in. So the diagnosis paper, part 1, which is only worth 10 points, but you want to make sure you get those 10 points, is due by 11:59 p.m. on Canvas. So big things here is probably like a paragraph. It's not a lot of information. So what I'm looking for is your character selection. So who it is you're going to be analyzing for your paper. And as I mentioned, you can change this later, but the more times you change, the more work you create. So trying to, pick a character and stick it down. I want you to describe why. Why did you choose that person? Are they interesting to you? Do you think they have a disorder? Don't have a disorder? What are your kind of really early thoughts? Just brief, but why them? And then I want you to have the citation information for your show. And again, it doesn't need to be in any kind of format. Any format is fine. So this in total is probably about a paragraph, and then your citation information underneath it. And you're submitting it on Canvas through that assignment instruction link. You can turn it in late, but you lose 10% per day, which is only 1 point for this. So if you don't get it done in time today, you can email it to me tomorrow or the next day. Better to get a few points than none, but try and get it in before the deadline. It's really brief, and it's getting you to start thinking about your character. Yeah.
Characters in like movie series.
Yeah.
And they're in like all of the series.
Sure.
All of the movies. Do you want us to cite every single movie?
You don't need to, just cite the series. And if you do like a quick, and for now, you don't even need to worry about it being in any kind of format. So you can always do like a quick Google search. Who are you doing? Oh, nice. All right. Very appropriate person to be looking at for this year, right? Yeah, no, that's great. So you can cite, you can make a decision. You can use all of the movies, or you can use one of the movies. It's kind of up to you to decide. And sometimes that'll happen. People would do like Harry Potter, right? And you could use all the Harry Potter movies or just one. It's kind of up to you.
Movie in.
Perfect.
Nice.
Okay. No, that's totally fine. And especially if you're really only referencing one movie, then you only need to worry about that. Yeah.
They all have like their own little diagnosis. Can you do it?
I want you to pick one. As much fun as it would be to have you do a bunch, you're gonna really like go into detail on one person. It's more than one. It's just really really long, and we'll set you up for failure. You won't be able to go into enough detail on that one person. You can take like a paragraph of your paper and mention the other people around that person, because maybe they play a role, or there's something worth considering. You don't want to focus on just one. Unless they have dissociative identity disorder, and focus on all of their identities, and you kind of give more than that.
So you want to do this?
Just one character,
Okay.
just one. Because in the final paper, which is like 6 or so pages, you're going to be looking at all of the diagnostic criteria, the causes, the treatments. You're going to focus a lot on that person. If you have more than one, you just won't be able to do it in the depth that I want you to. So yeah, so just one for now. Any other questions about that? Feeling okay about it? Several of you have already turned it in, but any other questions at all about this first part? And again, if you missed the deadline for some reason tonight, you can still email it with me, just keep that in the back of your mind. Otherwise, we will move on. We'll keep going here with our anxiety disorders and panic attacks are our next one. Oh, exciting for panic attacks, right? Anyone in here ever had a panic attack before? If I show of hands, I had my first one this year. Yay, lucky me, right? So a lot of you raised your hand. Anyone want to describe what did a panic attack feel like? What would you, any comments about it at all? Maybe even if it isn't you, but someone in your life. Anyone, a description? Yeah.
It feels like very overwhelming. Like to me, it kind of feels like somebody pushing down on my chest. Like it's not necessarily like in the moment, like in the movie, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, I'm dying. It just feels like everything is like pressing me down. So that's my experience.
Okay. No, not fun at all, right? Okay, so you're kind of feeling that weight and pressure. Anyone want to add to that? Any other like experiences? Yeah. Mhm.
It's like kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like that. Like everything's so speed up.
Okay.
I just. Yeah, I mean.
Sure.
Super fast.
Super fast. And for some people, it goes really fast. Other people can slow way down. It's almost like time isn't real in a way, or isn't can accurate. Okay.
I was so.
Out of it in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty common too. Anybody else? Other thoughts? Yeah.
Like hypervigilance, we're like attempting to find a place that is secure, but in the process being like very aware of stimulus that causes further anxiety.
Okay. So kind of like that on edge, everything, being really aware of everything in that way. Okay. These can be intense. If you've ever had a panic attack, and a lot of you raised your hand, sometimes people feel like they're dying. It's not uncommon for people to go to the emergency room thinking they're having a heart attack. And it turns out it's a panic attack because your heart can feel like it's beating really, really quickly. People can have one panic attack, in which case we just define that as a short bout of panic that occurs very suddenly, reaches a peak within minutes, and then passes. So these tend to be short-lived, but people can be exhausted afterward for hours. And it can time to recover from them because they are very draining. Or if people start having them recurrently, then we call that panic again, right? And so there are some kind of things that can go along with this. But panic disorders, when people start to have repeated panic attacks. But let's look at some of the criteria for a panic attack. Right, so some of the things that have to happen diagnostically in order for this to occur. So we have to have 4 or more that reach a peak within minutes. So 4 or more of a bunch of different symptoms that kind of reach a peak very quickly. These tend to come out of nowhere, in a sense, right? And that's part of what tends to lead to so much anxiety with them, is that they are unpredictable. So some of the things that can happen, heart palpitations. So your heart starts pounding really quickly. And again, sometimes people feel like they're having a heart attack because their heart, they can feel it beating so intensely. That's a very, very common thing that happens. Sweating. Okay, people break out into a sweat, trembling or shaking. What happens with panic attacks is people start to panic, and then that panic leads to more panic. And it kind of ends up in this loop, right? Where you're panicking and then you start to panic that you're panicking, which leads to more panic. Kind of like with GAD, it's almost like meta worrying or meta panicking in a way. Shortness of breath, feeling like you can't breathe. Sometimes people will feel like they're choking. right? They can't swallow or they can't breathe in some way. Chest pain. Nausea or dizziness are very, very common. Right? Everything might feel like it's spinning or you feel dizzy. Other things that can happen, there's a sense of feeling like things aren't real. We call this derealization. Where things around you don't quite feel real. You might not feel connected to reality. That could be things speeding up. It could be things slowing down. It could be everything being blurry, but you don't feel connected to the world around you. Everything feels like fuzzy or unreal in some way. There's a sense of like impending death. Oftentimes people fear that they're going to die, which leads to more panic. Let's see if there's anything else I want to add. Sometimes people get like numbness or tingling in parts of their body. And then finally, we could also add chills or hot flashes. And again, the key with all of this is it comes on kind of suddenly out of nowhere, reaches a peak very quickly, and then tends to calm back down. But people might take hours before they actually start to feel better, right? Oftentimes people can feel pretty wiped out and sick after this. But what happens is if somebody has this, then they would have a panic attack. If this happens repeatedly, they have panic disorder. And a very, very common phobia goes with this. And it goes with this enough that we actually specify it when we diagnose it. Do people have panic disorder with or without agoraphobia? Agoraphobia is a super interesting phobia. It has a lot of elements to it. With this one, it's a fear of intense crowds, public places, or other situations that require separation from a source of security. We can also add to this, there's this element of fear of embarrassment, right? That you're going to be embarrassed or out of control in front of other people. And so what happens is people start to develop agoraphobia. They don't want to go out into the world because they're afraid they'll have a panic attack and be embarrassed, or they'll have a panic attack and they won't be able to get back to a place of security where they're away from everyone. And so sometimes you get people who have panic disorder and agoraphobia that refuse to leave their house. It's relatively common that this happens where people, I'm not going to go out into the world because what if I have a panic attack? I'm not going to go out into the world because there are people out there, there are situations out there, I don't know what to predict, I don't know what's going to happen. And so they kind of stay in their home. If you've seen, I have like just the trailer to share with you. If you watched Woman in the Window, or if you've watched a Copycat, right? There's a bunch of different movies. It's often writers. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but it's always writers in these films that have agoraphobia. Third one was Sigourney Weaver. She refuses to leave her house. Agoraphobia, as I said, it kind of has a few different pieces to it. In this context, it's more that you don't want to leave a source of security, but it can also be like a sense of feeling trapped, not wanting to feel unable to escape. And not wanting to embarrass yourself in like a public situation. So it tends to be very tied to panic disorder. And again, people have that fear that it's going to happen again and you won't know what's going to bring it on, because panic attacks tend to come on with no reason, right? They don't tend to necessarily be triggered by something specific. If they are, and it happens repeatedly with something specific, then it might be more of a phobia or something else. So these are relatively common. A lot of people do experience them, as you saw. A lot of people raise their hands here. Biologically, this is thought to be linked to abnormalities in the neurotransmitter norepinephrine and a small area of the brain called the locus ceruleus. There's these two regions of the brain very dense in norepinephrine neurotransmitters. And so if people have some like norepinephrine abnormalities, then we might give them a medication that's going to help with that. Some of those anti-anxiety medications that we talked about, antidepressants, are also really, really common for panic disorder. Antidepressants often work on norepinephrine, so we might give somebody one of those as a way to help kind of lower and counter that norepinephrine. So drug therapies tend to be the most common if we look at it biologically, but cognitively, there's a really big piece here. Right? Cognitively, it's people misinterpreting stuff that's going on. If you can identify very quickly that you're having a panic attack and then calm yourself down or distract yourself, you can stop it. Right? I don't know, it just totally made me think of, there was a TikTok I saw like 5 days ago. The guy starts having a panic attack and somebody hands him something and distracts him and he just stops having it. And he's like, oh, I'm no longer having a panic attack. I'll have to see if I can find it. But if you can distract somebody or stop it very early, it might just completely stop, right? Because a lot of what happens here is people start interpreting what's going on and then they panic more. And so there's a lot of like education that is geared here. And if we can educate somebody on what's going on in your body, you're not going to die. Your heart is pounding faster because of the anxiety. All of these things are explainable. Then what happens is people can learn to calm themselves down. We try and reduce somebody's like anxiety sensitivity. And so as they start to feel those sensations, let's identify them, not interpret them as being so harmful. And that's going to be helpful for people, right? Those of you who've had panic attacks, and a lot of you raised your hand, does anyone have like something that works for you to help you calm down? Does anyone have like a strategy or a technique that you use? We'll go in the front, then I'll go behind you. Yeah.
Oh, ice water.
Ice water. Yeah, and that's really common. It's called a TIPS skill. It's a very cognitive behavioral skill. When you put ice water on your face, it forces your body into a state change, and it can actually help to shock you out of whatever you're experiencing and calm you down. Just like a cold shower or hot shower might do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, not influencing it, but just kind of exaggerating the symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of removing all the outside stimulation, going to a quiet place. Those are things that tend to be helpful. Have you ever seen somebody breathing into a paper bag? Right? There's like kind of that old stereotype of like you breathe into a paper bag. The idea behind that is you're kind of getting back some of that lost carbon dioxide of when you're breathing quickly. More than anything, what makes that potentially helpful is the focused breathing, focusing on the bag, popping in and out. Kind of an old idea, but sometimes people will use that. But noise canceling headphones, cold water. Yeah.
It reminds me of the movie Airplane.
Yeah.
Seen it, remember the scene where he's freaking out.
Uh-huh.
Get a hold of yourself.
Right. Very aggressive way of calming her down, right? Snap out of it, basically, right? Like stop it. Some people it's removing themselves, others it might be distraction in some way, or that's a little more aggressive, but it worked in there as well. But trying to find ways to identify and calm down can make that really successful. And again, once you've understood what they are and how it's affecting you, people tend to not be quite as scared the next time if they can remember that in the moment where they're having that panic attack. The next disorder that we'll talk about is OCD. But before I get there, obsessive compulsive disorder is incredibly rooted in superstitious thinking. And there's an incredible number of superstitions that we have in our culture. And sometimes these are very cultural, which can be really interesting. But superstitions are beliefs or practices surrounding luck, prophecy, and oftentimes spiritual beings, particularly the irrational belief that future events can be influenced or foretold by specific unrelated prior events. People get carried away with superstitious thinking, and it can lead to things like obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, a lot of us have superstitions. That doesn't mean you have OCD. But if you get a little like overwhelmed by these or carried away with them, it could put you on that path, right? What a day keeps the doctor away. An apple, step on what and break what? Break your mother's back, right? You're mad at your mom, step on every crack you can find. I used to do that as a kid, right? Didn't work, right? But it did anyway. Good luck to carry a rabbit's foot, right? Bad luck to walk under a ladder, bad luck to break a mirror, and black what are bad luck? Cats. I have 2 black cats. I'm screwed. Right. No, they're not bad, right? There are so many of these. Anyone else have another? What are some other superstitious beliefs that maybe you have personally or that you know of? Yeah. Okay, don't walk under a ladder, right? That was one of those. Yeah. Right. It's bad luck to walk under a ladder. Yes. Opening an umbrella inside, something with your soul, right? Like that. Like take your soul. Into that.
But walking on somebody else's crutches, like
Oh, okay.
she got injured at practice
Uh-huh.
and like we were the trainers and I was like giving her crutches and the trainer was like, don't do that. It's fun.
Okay, interesting, right? I haven't heard that one before, but there's tons. What else? Where's some other ones? Yeah.
But
Oh, okay. Looking into a crow's eye bad luck. Okay. What else? Anyone else have another one? Yeah. The number 13, right? Judas was the 13th guest at the Last Supper. 13 is a unlucky number. Friday the 13th is a day of bad luck. And for me, it's a day to watch like all the Jason Voorhees Friday the 13th movies, but it's a day of bad luck. There's not often a 13th floor in most hotels because of that. Talking about like wild superstitions that have been embraced. What else? Anyone have any more? Any other ones? Yeah.
Native Americans used to believe that photographs stole fragments of your soul.
Yeah, right. Definitely. I've heard that one before. Yeah. Knocking on wood, right? How many of you knock on wood? Anyone do that? Right? I told my partner yesterday, she said something like, everything was going really well. And I was like, oh, you better knock on wood, right? And the idea of that is that spirits were thought to live in trees. And so when you knock on anything made of a tree, you're calling on the spirits to bring you good luck, right? Bad luck to spill salt over your shoulder, right? If you spill salt, you're supposed to throw it over your shoulder to blind the demons that are lurking behind you to bring you bad luck. That's why you throw it over your shoulder, because they're hanging out behind you waiting, right? So you got to throw it over the shoulder to get it in their eyes to blind them. There's so many of these, the black cats, Friday the 13th, saying God bless you, or just bless you after somebody sneezes. In the past, if you sneezed, you thought you might have the plague and you were going to die. So God bless you on your journey because you're about to die. We don't tend to think of that when we say bless you anymore, but it's a really, really common one. There are so many of these. It's bad luck to say good luck if you're performing, right? Like in a performance, you don't say good luck, you say break a leg. There's just a ton. And sports, athletes are notorious for superstitious beliefs, right? Like, yeah, do you have one, or do you have like something with,
just like team.
Yeah. yes.
I've heard of people. I mean, this is really gross. Somebody's like, well, watch sock.
Yeah. Right, you can't watch that sock or that like jock strap or whatever it might be. You can't watch the lucky item, you'll walk away the luck, right? Yeah.
Back in grade school, we used to eat a little pack of hot sauce from Taco Bell.
Okay.
For every game, and then a pack of like the spread from In-N-Out.
Okay.
And you would just like open it and like chug it down, and it was the most foul thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a stomach ache waiting to
Yeah, I
happen.
don't continue doing it because it obviously that.
But that was like their good luck
Yeah.
routine, right? Mhm. There was another, was there another hand, someone else? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right. It's so common. Watch any basketball player when they go to take like a foul shot, right? They all have their little routine and how many times they flip the ball, dribble the ball, what they do. Batters, when they go up to bat, how many times they swing the bat, step in and out of the box, right? Take the glove on and off. And there's nothing wrong with those behaviors, right? They're routines that people fall into. But when you start to think, oh, if I don't do that, something bad will happen, then you've kind of gone down a little bit of a different path. And that's so common with, again, with athletes, performers are notorious for these kind of things. Years and years ago, when Brady and the Patriots had that perfect season all the way until the Super Bowl where they lost, my partner washed my jersey the day before the Super Bowl. And I blame her. I'm like, that's why they lost. I wore it every day of every game, all that luck, and you washed it away. They lost, right? Of course, that's not why they lost, but like I pouted for like weeks after that. I was like, you washed my jersey. She's like, yeah, it needed to be washed. I'm like, not till after the game. It's your fault. I blame her, right? But those are the kind of ideas here that can lead to more like escalated superstitious thinking, right? And lead to things like OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder. I had a little commercial, I'll play it for you. It's like 30 seconds. If you've ever heard the song as well, the Superstitious song, it kind of talks about some of that a little bit, but I'll play this for you. It's really brief, and it's again like superstitious actions and little rituals that people have before games. It's related to football, so of course I have to play it here.
Very superstitious. Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans who do whatever it takes. Here we go.
All right, whatever it takes, right? And you see them all like tapping, they have to put things in a certain way. But what I love about that, the song, right? When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. And I think that's a really good lyric connecting to.
Can let spontaneous things happen.
Okay, so I love that right at the end. It's so nice to see. He's like smiling and able to like run and pick things up. Like she made an incredible amount of progress. 9 sessions, right? So it took some time, but in doing that, right, if I go back, doing that exposure and response prevention, right? She's rubbing that mail all over the couch, which just in my mind, I'm like, ew, why are you doing that, right? I don't know if anyone else had that reaction at all in your mind. Like a little bit of that again is okay, but then putting them on there, not washing their hands, right? And things are okay, letting him walk and things are fine, right? So it's really a way of tackling this disorder is to expose someone to that and then prevent the response that typically makes them better. And again, all of us probably have a little bit of this. Like I have my little obsessions and compulsions that I like to do, right? Because of COVID, I won't let people wear shoes in my house anymore. Like it's never been my favorite, but now I'm like really like anal retentive about it. Like when people come in, I'm like, take off your shoes. It's something like I started doing during COVID and like I refuse to let it go and my family like fights me on it and I fight them on it. And like, it's a thing that I have. Like we all have little things like that, but when it hits like that level of severity, it's impacting your life, taking up time, then it's a little bit different. Yeah.
There's where it's most of the time it's not violence. Could be, but
It's not usually talk about trauma, right? It's usually more the irrational beliefs that are built up and you keep giving them power and you maintain because every time you do that compulsion, nothing bad happens. And so you're just reinforcing it over and over and over again, which is why behaviorally breaking that behavior pattern is so powerful. It doesn't tend to be as trauma-based. Could be, but it's not the most common. There are a couple of OCD-related disorders. So these are disorders that have elements in common with obsessive compulsive disorders, but they're offshoots. So these are all their own separate disorders, but they're categorized as obsessive compulsive related disorders. Hoarding. Hoarding is a disorder that is very related to OCD. There's a lot of obsessions and compulsions that are present in hoarding. Used to be called being a pack rat, right? But then it became its own unique disorder in the DSM-4 text revision. With hoarding, people acquire excessive amounts of things and they refuse to get rid of them, right? It's like an inability to get rid of possessions, even if they're worthless, hazardous, or unsanitary. Lots of shows on TV about people who are hoarders and like showing you their houses and just the amount of stuff that they have where they can't go into rooms, they can't sleep on their own bed because they have so much stuff. Right. But I can't get rid of that water bottle from today because that water bottle represents the class that we had today. And it would be really hard for me to get rid of it. I'd be dishonoring that memory. What if I need that magazine from 72 years ago? Right. What if I need it one day? Right? There's all these beliefs about like not being able to get rid of something and even acquiring a lot of stuff like picking up stuff off of the street that people throw away or going and buying things and not opening them and leaving them in your house. Right, it's kind of excessively acquiring possessions and having a hard time letting them go. They're very difficult to get people to let them go. Trichotillomania, which is probably the most fun one to say of all disorders, right? Trichotillomania, hair pulling disorder. When people, in response to anxiety, pull out their hair, right? It might be hairs on your arm or your leg, could be on your head. My daughter started doing this during like her first grade year, started pulling out her eyebrows and eyelashes. And she had absolutely no eyelashes for a year because she would pull them out mindlessly when she was anxious. And this is something that people often do in response to anxiety, and they might not even realize they're doing it. It can cause massive bald patches on your head, right? Or on your arms or eyebrows or eyelashes. It's in response to anxiety. It's a very OCD related type of behavior. So is excoriation or skin picking disorder. Some people, when they're anxious, they pick at their skin. They might pick at a scab over and over and over again until it gets infected and scars. But oftentimes people who have skin picking disorder have scars all over their body because they can't stop picking at them. Sometimes it's mindless and sometimes it's a coping mechanism for dealing with anxiety. This one used to be in a completely different spot, but we put it here in the last DSM. I'm not sure it'll stay here, but body dysmorphic disorder is another one as well. And the reason that it ended up here is because there's a lot of obsessions about your body being imperfect in some way. And then people often perform compulsions like surgeries or procedures to try and alter their body to make it look more normal. Oftentimes with this disorder, people decide that some part of their body is defective, like they hate their nose or they hate their stomach or they hate some aspect of their physical appearance. And then they oftentimes will do behaviors to try and fix it, excessive surgeries or excessive procedures of some kind. And there's nothing wrong with this individual outwardly, but they've decided that something is defective and feel like they have to address it. Like everyone is staring at it and noticing it. Interesting with this disorder, one little side note, it cannot be only related to weight. So if somebody is like, I hate my appearance because I'm overweight, then we start to get into the realm of eating disorders. So it has to not be related to weight only. It's typically some like specific part of the body and then performing behaviors to make it better. There's an offshoot of this. It's relatively rare, but it's called BII, body integrity identity disorder. Body integrity identity disorder. And this one, it's like a more severe version of this where people start to feel like a limb or a part of their body is not their own. And they oftentimes want to amputate it, right? It's sometimes called amputee identity disorder. Really rare, but you'll get cases where people will be like, my hand is not my hand. This is somebody else's hand. I don't want it. It's not part of my body. And in really severe cases will actually amputate or sever off parts of their body because they feel so strongly about it. Very, very rare, but it does happen. So body integrity identity disorder. This one's much more common. Again, it's usually some part of me is defective. People are staring at me and I need to do something to address or fix it. But this one's obviously much more severe and a little more controversial. Does that person have the right to remove that limb or not? Medically, that becomes a huge debate. But all of these are a little bit of an offshoot of OCD. They have the elements of it, but they all kind of go in their own direction. All right. So we're kind of up against the clock here out of time. So a really quick reminder, don't forget about the diagnosis paper part 1. Turn that in by tonight, or you email it to me late. You lose a little bit of points, the better, but not at all. When I see you next, we will move on to chapter 5. I'll make sure those slides are up and visible and posted for you. But chapter 5 on stress and trauma is what we will talk about next. So have another wonderful weekend, right? And I will see you all well on Monday. Yeah, thank you.